prompt God to begin his creative work? What would prompt him to start that? What made God move to do this? Why this universe? Why this earth? Why us? Why us? What prompted him to do that? As we are created in his likeness and image, the answer may be as close as the mind within you and the person sitting next to you. Love. Love. Scripture speaks so often of love. Can it be that God just wanted to love and be loved? He would create man for that purpose. God, I don't think God was lonely. I don't think he was lonely where he was just pining for company. I don't think he was wanting some kind of distraction or some kind of entertainment to entertain himself. You know, I think I'll just create people. Oh, that's entertaining. I don't think that was his intent. I think God created so that he could love people and so that people would love him back. And there would be this bond and this relationship that God yearned for. God wanted creatures that could adore him and worship him. And God wanted creatures that he could shower his love and grace upon and show them all the glory of himself and his paradise. God wanted a relationship, and he still wants a relationship. That hasn't changed. I think God created so that he could love, express his love, and so that his love could come back. So first he had to prepare a place for what would be his ultimate creative act. So God merely spoke, and God said, "Let there be." God just spoke. And there is a divine illumination. Not sunlight, not yet. This is God and his shining glory. I'm going to take us back to last year's study. Let's go to Revelation. I'm going to go to Revelation 21, or 23. I got that wrong. Well, now I wrote down that I must have transposed that, and I'm trying to find it. That's what happens when you scribble too fast. It's the passage of Revelation where God does away with the sun. There's no more need for the sun. There's no more need for the moon. God's glory is the illumination for the New Jerusalem. God's glory is the shining light. That's this glory here in Revelation, or in Genesis 1. It's this passage. It's this light that God creates. And he does it for a very distinct reason. It is God pouring his divine nature into a void in order to bring a contrast for the void. It's like a primer coat before the finish coat. God has to create a base, and then immediately everything has contrast. So he shines his glory into the void, and it prepares for his ultimate work. God then speaks, and sky, seas, land, vegetation, stars, planets, all are created in succession and in an orderly fashion to show us another part of God's unique character. Order and logic. God could have, you'll see this in your commentary, God could have just said, "Let it be." And everything that would have been done in the 6 days would have been finished. Done. There it is. But he did it in this fashion to show us, to show the Jews, and then to us, God is a God of creative order and logic. And it builds on itself. This is critical because as we walk through the rest of Scripture, you're going to see God striving constantly to bring order. God's constantly trying to show that there is a natural progression for things. There is a right way and there's a wrong way. He wants to show that there is order, and God is a God of order. Just look at the universe. Look at the planets in our solar system, the way they revolve around the sun, and how there are moons that revolve around other planets. In all of the years that God has created that, they haven't varied an iota. They just kind of are in perfect synchronization with each other. That just blows my mind. If one of them would start to wobble a little bit, it would send everything into chaos. But God is a God of order, and he set that all in place, and it just works. And it all builds upon itself. Our commentary gives an overview of 3 explanations for how long this creative period took. CBS and your lecturer holds to the literal 24-hour view. There are 3, and they go into pretty good detail in your commentary about to explain those. And they all have their pluses and minuses. But I don't think God needed a lot of time. How much time does God need to create a universe? One theory says that each of those days actually represents a very long era, maybe millions of years. Now, it's a representation of an extremely long period of time. God doesn't need that. God could have very easily have created the entire universe in the blink of an eye. But he chose 7 days. I don't think that's a stretch at all to believe. How much time does God need? Because God is the creator and all else is created.